Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lucy. I'm very happy to see you virtually this time because now I am back to my home country, Bulgaria. And soon I'm going to meet a wonderful organization helping women in fintech, in finance, in the banking industry to connect, exchange, and help other women also get more visibility and also more understanding in the financial topics. So I thought they should definitely meet you even virtually. So now I would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do.
My name is Lisa Severing. I'm a trained sociologist and I now work as a consultant in the finance field.
I'm Lucy and I'm a financial advisor now since 8 years.
Yeah, and we started SheTalksMoney because every time that we talked about finances with our friends, they were like, oh my God, I have no one to talk about finances with. And so it became kind of a habit that friends would talk to us and then to us together because the whole mindset and sociology, where does it come from that I'm afraid of my finances, or why is it different for me as a woman? And then Lucy always brought in the strategic advising part, which was very helpful. And we had so many talks and so much feedback that people wish they had a space where they could learn more from professionals, but also connect with each others, that we were really sitting down here in a cafe and we're thinking, what can we do and how could we name it? And then I think it was just a pop-up idea. It was SheTalksMoney. And we just got started 1 year ago. And now we have the great opportunity to talk at a lot of events already, like at JP Morgan, DWS, Audi, about this topic, why finances especially matter for women and what they need to get successful there. And I would say that's our core, to do workshops and events to bring women together and talk about money.
Mm-hmm. As a branding strategist, congratulations first on naming it so perfectly well. She
Thank
Talks
you.
Money sounds pretty awesome. Why women are afraid to talk about money?
If you look into research, it's very interesting that we already see that when you're young, your parents talk differently with boys and girls about finances. So with women or little girls, it's always about saving, being safe, not too much of an adventure. Whereas boys always can get up again. So it's much more common, for example, for parents also to talk about like kind of bad topics like debt, for example, and this carries over. And also in marketing and financial advisory, we see this because women are often talked to again as like, be careful, stop being an overspender. So if you think about Sex and the City, she wasn't able, even though she has this amazing journalism job, she's not able to look after her money and she needs Mr. Big. And there is a huge research study on this that has analyzed the language that's used towards women and how much it differs versus men. And also when you look at the imagery, so women are always portrayed in finance terms in very colorful and more childlike poses, for example, and colorful clothing, whereas men are always presented, or most presented in a power stance. So black suit, a blue suit, and then in a very powerful stance. And the last thing is that we also, especially here in Germany, just have different options in terms of how much money we even can invest. Part-time working, gender pay gap also makes you having less of an income. And when you have less of an income, it's not that much about gender. It's more about like, what is your economic status? And then women act as everyone else who has less income. So if you don't have so much income to spare, of course, your risk preference will be much lower than someone who can like gamble with 1,000 euros monthly.
If this was more of a generational thing, more for us, that we were not taught this way, how can we change things for the next generation? What can we do so women feel more confident and courageous to be bolder with their money, with their spending, with their investment habits?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I'm currently doing a research project that's called Financial Realities of Women. So I've talked to a couple of women already, and it's this topic of being being confident about money is a really big one, and a lot of them still say they don't have role models, going back to Lucy. And this really struck me because if you ask men, for example, they often like from the mind can say, this is my role model, whether it's Warren Buffett or the guy from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And women are just like, it's always a little bit of a silence. And it's something they very carry out of the interview. It's like, oh my God, I don't have any anyone I look up to. And I think that's a huge thing. And what I also found in my research, women who are very confident with money often had either a very successful mom in terms of entrepreneurship. So the women whose mothers had their own businesses are very confident. And then also the ones where their fathers talked with them about money. So these are very, very big variables, which makes sense because then you have a role model. So I think this role model, sharing your knowledge and wisdom from someone who is experienced and who has a certain advisory level, is kind of the biggest game changer, because what we observed is knowledge is not enough. So there's not even, I would say it's not the biggest gap, is not the knowledge gap, even for this generation, because we notice like young women are better educated than ever and also better educated in terms of finances. They're very interested, but what we still hear, it's a confident gap. Like they don't get started even after listening to the 3rd podcast, reading the 10th book. So they are like your role models and people who stand behind you and say, you can do it, let's go. I'm here along the way, is kind of the biggest thing we saw.
And in that case, the confidence part is not from themselves. It's most of the time it's from out there, so from parents, from books or something like that. And when you speak about, or when they speak about, they see, oh, it's not my topic. Everyone here has the topic, or every girl has the same topic, so I can start. It's not my one. It's okay. And that's also a huge game changer to talk about.
When I met you for the first time, I was very impressed how much you really love the topic. You care about it. Finance is not something you're scared of. You love it deeply. And how does this happen?
My grandpa gave me always the feeling with my little money. He was always laying something by side for me and my sister. And he showed me how it's working, and that's fun to do something with it, and that's good to structure it. And that was, I think, the best way for me to learn that it's a nice topic, that I can do this, and that it's useful in the school. I didn't understood it. So when I went home, my grandpa was telling me about, in my language, in my children language, how it's working, how the world is going on, and how money is working. And when I was looking at red numbers, I was like, oh my God, we need to put that out, my money. And he told me, no, it's okay. We love red numbers in that and that and that case. So he gave me a really good feeling about it. And we live in Munich. Money is a huge topic, especially in that city. And I found, I think, the best way with women in Munich and the topic of my grandfather. And that's nice. Yeah.
So demystifying the topic and showing it's not as complex as we normally think, starting one step at a time and digging deeper and deeper until we feel confident we understand it and it's not so scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that you've been doing She Talks Money for over a year and a half, what are the challenges that you face? Because you said you should talk a lot about it, you should get more people on board, you should get visible. What are the struggles that you're having?
That's a very good question. So I think the struggle really is how to find your niche in terms of what is your home turf with branding, right? Like how to make clear that the content that we are providing is researched and professionally based, and really to see what is the fit. Like how can we give vouched knowledge? How can we then still compete on this female finance market, which is really huge at the moment, and how to stay true to your own research and professional voice. I think that is one of the things. And then also to find companies or opportunities that fit us, and that also buy in terms of who is a great fit, like who is really interested into research, into like not just more than mindset, so to say, which is a huge thing. But for us, it's really, we want to deliver deep value and growth, and to keep it based there. And I think that was something we had to figure out. Okay, how do we reach women? What is the best format to reach women? And that has really changed between what our first ideas were, and we never imagined doing big workshops at huge companies, and then also to pivot. And then we had the first emails, and we were saying, oh my God, they want to do a workshop with us. And to be also then again to be confident and say, yes, we're doing this, we're good what we're doing, and then to keep on going and to be open to the pivoting part until you find the right business model for yourself too.
Mm-hmm. That's indeed a challenge to everyone, to find what makes you unique and how you differentiate from all the rest on the market. You said something interesting. The market is huge at the moment when we talk about female finance. In German language, we have genders. In English, it's not like that. But do you think money is going to be female in the future?
I think it's female owned, because money, that's also what we're always saying, money is neutral. It's like your euro doesn't care when you invest it, whether you're a woman or a man, but all the structures around you, depending on what your financial advisor is, your bank advisor, and the access, or your employer. So that's female or male dominated. I mean, there are the statistics that say that a huge amount of household income is now going to go through to women, which is amazing. So I think yes, and also a lot of women now invest and have discovered this, and it's also going together, I think, with the development that more women also decide against having children, decide more for independence also outside of the household. So I'm thinking yes, definitely. But also on the other hand, you also see like a retraditionalization of a lot of roles. So I think it's like in the balance. What we observe is a lot of women now becoming very independent and very money savvy. And then but you also have the other ones who, especially in Germany, was like the problem with health, with childcare and whatever, who started out like, I want to be this person, and then just get lost along the way. So I think it's both.
I think when in advisory, you see always that women doing the organization for the whole family with money, and they're doing it perfectly, really perfectly. But also coming to action with the own financial household, that would be a really, really big change, because they are amazing with money. Everything is there. The knowledge is there, but the step to action, if we can do here more and find the key, how women get better to action, that would change really, really a lot.
Yeah, and as a society, you really want this, because there has so much research been, if you give like money to women, they are much more likely to invest it back into community or SGD conform. So it's like you really want female money, because women are research-based better with money, funnily.
One thing that Lucy said was that as you're based in Munich, Munich is a city that money is a huge topic. Now that I'm here in Bulgaria, I see money is a huge topic everywhere, regardless of the location. So, do you have any message to give to Women in Finance, this Bulgarian organization that I'm going to meet in a week?
I think for us, we were at an investment conference, and we were coming in, and then they were really literally, I would say 90% men, and their reaction was finally women. So I think that's what I would say to Women in Finance in Bulgaria. Finally women. It's so nice to get to do this call with you, Raya, that we know you go from Munich, basically having met us here, to other women in finance. And I think that is like our message. We're so happy that you're there, that it's across borders. And we always love to just come together as women in finance and to see how can we support each other. And I think that's our message. We're very finally women. We're very happy that you're there and that you're also doing amazing work over the borders there.
Perfect. Building bridges. This is what really matters.